I purchased two of these glucose blood monitoring sensors early this year. I've used up one of them to do an experiment, and the second one is about to expire. Here it is. Today's date, August 31st, 2022, and today it will expire, so I need to basically use it. So I've been trying to think what experiment to do on myself this time, and so I heard that curcumin, which is a molecule in turmeric. I heard that it can help to lower the blood sugar spike after a meal if you take it before the meal. So, I happen to take turmeric 5 times a week just for anti-inflammation in the form of a tea. So, and I usually take it after lunch, but I thought I would try the experiment of alternating between taking it after lunch and before lunch every alternate day and seeing if that will make any statistical difference in my blood sugar spike after lunch. So that should be interesting. If it does make a difference, then it would probably be worth to take the tea before eating lunch to decrease the sugar spike. So I'm gonna open this up, take a look, and apply it to my arm. Some kind of unboxing video here. Content says one sensor applicator and one sensor pack. And by sensor pack, it just means one sensor. Here's the applicator, and in this sealed container is the sensor, and comes with instructions, which is fully Chinese because I bought it in China, and has nice pictures, so it should be easy to use. Then to read the sensor, I have this sensor reader. This is reusable. I've used this for at least 3 or 4 of these experiments, but these are disposable after use and they last 14 days. And this one also expires on the same day. And this is the applicator, which will very quickly insert the small needle on the sensor into the back of my arm where there's a layer of fat. So, but my layer is not thick. So hopefully, well, yeah, behind this layer of fat is muscle, and muscle moves as you move your arm. So that would be bad if that needle went so deep that it went into the muscle. Then when the muscle is moving, the needle's sort of in there, and that would probably cause pain. I'm guessing, but in the times I used this before, it was fine. There was no pain. A little bit of discomfort when maybe tossing and turning in bed and rolling on it. So that's not good. It does cause a little bit of discomfort sometimes, either in bed. So like at night when I maybe unconsciously roll onto it, and then there's some stress onto the sensor or pressure. And occasionally, especially in the beginning, maybe the first day, there's a little bit of discomfort when doing push-ups, for maybe obvious reasons, because this muscle is used heavily when doing push-ups. So I need to study the instructions carefully, but the procedure is simple. But I just want to make sure to clean my arm with alcohol properly and all that. So I'm just going to study it carefully and then apply the sensor. So it shows where to put it at the back of the arm. Clean with alcohol, then open the sealed package and open the applicator, unscrew it, then insert the applicator into the package so the sensor will be attached to the applicator, then pull it out. Then now we can see the sensor, and that little needle is loaded into the applicator. Then apply pressure onto the applicator. There's a spring, and the spring will charge energy, and then will click, and the sensor will be shot into the arm and will pierce the arm skin, and then the sensor will adhere to the arm with some really good tape, really sticky tape, and then pull off the applicator, and it's finished. The sensor will remain there, and it's waterproofed, so it doesn't really affect anything. You can shower and all that, so no problems. So it doesn't come with alcohol, which I feel is a bit dumb. They could have thrown in this little alcohol wipe. I don't know why they didn't throw that in. Luckily I have medical grade alcohol on hand, so I'm just going to get that now and do the steps. Okay, here we go. Here's our alcohol, medical alcohol. Let's just smell it. Yep, that is alcohol, 75%. Don't drink that. You could, I guess. Some people might. Okay, get the alcohol into my cotton wipe, and that's saturated, and I want to get it where my fat is the thickest. I assume most people wouldn't have a problem finding thick fat here, but the needle is, it's about like a centimeter maybe, or maybe not a centimeter. We'll see later. We'll take a look at it after coming out. But basically, yeah, here just at the bottom of my arm is where it's the thickest, so I'm gonna apply it there, do some cleaning. Okay. Got a bit too much alcohol onto that pad. Let's wring it out a bit. Wipe it good. Okay, that should be pretty sterile. Let's open this one. Okay, open this one. So you can see what that looks like. And now insert this in. Okay, pull it out. Now you can see the needle is ready, and the tape, two-sided tape, is ready. And then just hold it in the position. There's my fatty area. Apply pressure. Oh, it clicked, and it's in. Okay, that came out very easily. There is that thing. Okay, there was no pain. No pain when moving my muscle. That's great. Gonna have a successful insertion. Okay, and then, so the last step of this is to activate it. So we use this to activate it. This uses some kind of NFC technology. So I just turned it on, and now I'm gonna hold it onto it. Oh, I forgot. There's always a step here that I need to do, but I can't read it because it's Chinese. Yeah. Who reads Chinese? You can tell me which step it is. One of these is activate the sensor. Gonna have to go to Google to translate this one, so I'll be back. So that's rather simple. It's just this one. If you press this, then it shows. Basically, this means start activate a new sensor. So let's try that. Okay, perfect. So 60 minutes now to for it to calibrate, I guess. And after the 60 minutes, I'll be able to take my first reading. And so now it's probably around 9:30 a.m. I have not eaten breakfast. I wanted to get the sensor in before eating breakfast because I want to monitor what the sugar spike will be for my breakfast. So I'll wait a while 60 minutes for it to calibrate, and then I'll eat my breakfast. And so just to let you know, I don't eat dinner. I do intermittent fasting every day. So I don't eat dinner. I eat breakfast at around 8:30 a.m. typically. And then I eat lunch at 1 p.m. typically. And by 1:30 p.m. On most days, I would have finished my lunch, and that is the last thing I will eat for the day. I do drink tea, but that has 0 calories. I don't add anything to it. It's usually green tea or some other tea. Yeah, so that's my routine. At least 5 days a week, it's like that, strictly. And on the weekend, is similar, but it may deviate from the plan a little bit. Like sometimes my lunch might be a little later, or I might have one lunch and then one more, I guess you could call it a snack, or very early dinner at maybe latest 4 p.m. But by the time it's bedtime, well, usually by 8 or 9 p.m., I will have finished digestion, and I feel in my body that there's a tiny bit of hunger, but it's not a problem. I just ignore it. As long as I don't see food or smell food, I just ignore it and completely forget about it. So it's quite easy to do this kind of intermittent fasting for me. Yep, so that is my plan for the next 14 days to try the turmeric tea. I'll tell you more about that in a little while when we get to lunch. Today I will take it after lunch, and so on. And on weekends I will not take the turmeric tea. I will skip it, or I may still take it. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, that's about all I need to say for now. See you at after breakfast, or see you at breakfast. You can see what I eat for breakfast, and then at lunch, and so on. More than 1 hour has passed, and let's try to take our first reading. Turn that on. Okay, it's showing that I should take a reading. And there we go. 4.7. That's quite low because I haven't eaten anything since 2 p.m. yesterday. Let's have a look at my breakfast. So first we have this porridge made out of beans, and there's lots of fruit in it, like blueberries, blackberries, peaches, avocados, dragon fruit. Okay, and then a bunch more fruit, and half an avocado, and a little piece of sweet potato, and another piece of a healthy cake, homemade cake, which has no sugar. And then I'm going to eat 3 or 4 of some pickled ginger, and I have some tea as usual. Also, I take daily vitamins, just some basic ones. Here's today's vitamins. Zinc, K2 and D3 vitamins. On some other days I have a bit of iodine as well, and B12. So I'm just gonna go ahead and eat this, and then I will check my blood glucose level. Okay, here's my lunch. It's 1:30 p.m. So what do I have for lunch? I won't eat all of this, of course, this is shared, but I have a soup with some fruits in it, and some white fungus, and some longan. And I have my mixed grains, then some kind of mushrooms and some vegetables, and some other kind of mushrooms with some tomatoes and some kind of tofu material on top of it, and then some greens and some corn and pickled vegetables. I finished my lunch just now. It's 1:46. Now I'm going to take a reading. Okay, so here we can see currently my blood sugar level is still very low, and we can see the spike here from breakfast. the one from lunch has not kicked in yet. I just finished it. Okay, so that's that. Now I want to show you my turmeric tea. I don't know if tea is the right way to call it. So this is tea made with turmeric powder, probably around 1 spoon of turmeric powder in hot water. And then there's also a bit of pepper in here. So the black dots are pepper. The reason for the pepper, it seems to activate some enzymes or something like that, or helps absorption of the turmeric or the curcumin. So I heard that somewhere, so I'm putting in pepper. Besides the pepper, I have slices of ginger and also slices of lemon in here. And that is for some additional vitamins. So today I will drink this after my lunch, which is now. Tomorrow I will drink it before lunch, and then the next day after lunch, and so on and so on. Then I will collect data about my blood sugar spike after lunch to see if this turmeric has any effect. It's nearly 9 p.m. now. I'm feeling a little bit of hunger, but just ignoring that, just keeping busy. Not a problem at all. So let's take a reading now and take a look at today's data. Okay, so here we go. So we have the spike from breakfast, which is starting to get off screen, and then the spike from lunch, and then after that I didn't eat, so blood sugar remained low for the rest of the time, and now it's very low. This thing is beeping like it's a hazard to be that low, but this is very normal for me. It will be just fine, and it will stay pretty low like this for the rest of the night and until after breakfast tomorrow morning. So let's just go into the data here. Let's see. All right, so here's the data again, so we can see more of the data on one screen, and we see that the breakfast spike went above the blue line, which is perfectly fine. Above the blue line means that blood sugar is high, which can occur after meals, but the body should bring the blood sugar back down into the blue area within about 1 hour or 1.5 hours. So that definitely happened for me, and so that is today's data. I did drink the turmeric tea after lunch. Tomorrow I will drink the turmeric tea before lunch and see if that makes any difference. Okay, it's morning time, 8:30 a.m. Let's take a reading here. Okay, so here we go. We have a very low blood sugar level throughout the night. That's exactly as expected, since I didn't eat anything for many, many hours. And here is a small blip down. I don't believe that's real. That's probably because maybe I rolled over onto the sensor and it somehow affected the reading. Anyway, that's my theory. I don't really think the blood sugar dipped that low. Anyway, I'm gonna go eat my breakfast. Here at the present time, the blood sugar is rising a bit. I did a little bit of exercise, some HIIT exercise, and also I'm up and doing stuff, so my body is creating sugar from the reserves. It's 1 p.m. I'm ready for lunch, but before that, let's look at the reading. Okay, so we have one small spike and then a second small spike from breakfast. And then it went back down. So today is the day where I take the turmeric tea first before lunch. So here it is. There it is, and I will drink it and then get to my lunch. It's now the next day in the morning, 8:30, and so yesterday after lunch, we'll look at the data. There was a small spike in blood sugar, and after that, a couple of wiggles in the level, and for the rest of that day, I did not feel hungry. There was no hunger at all, so that's pretty, really good day. I must have eaten enough calories. And we'll look at the data. Let's go into it. Okay, so this is yesterday's data right there. So we're seeing one small spike for breakfast and another small spike for lunch, and then a bunch of wiggles, and then here are the wiggles. It didn't go into the red zone at all, like the day before. So the red zone maybe is when it's very low and gives me hunger. Yesterday I did not have hunger. And the day before that is like this. So that was the first day, and it had a large spike for breakfast and a small spike for lunch. So far, the lunch spike is about the same. The difference there being the first day I drank the turmeric tea after lunch and the second day before lunch. Now let's look at the rest of the evening of yesterday. So that's this. It was very low, and then throughout the night remained low. So that's as expected, dipping into the red area a little bit. Okay, so now I will go eat my breakfast. Okay, it's a bit after 8:30 a.m., 24 hours later since the last video. Now, here, let's look at the data here for the last day. So we see yesterday's breakfast spike right there, and then the lunch spike is there. And so yesterday I drank my turmeric tea before lunch. The spike for lunch is still not too high, but a little higher than the ones in the previous days. Let's see, here's the previous day, and the lunch spike is this wiggle here, so that's a bit lower, and the previous day before that is this area here is these wiggles. So far my experiment is definitely not indicating that drinking turmeric tea before lunch will lower the sugar spike. Today I will drink the turmeric tea a little bit after lunch and see what the sugar spike looks like. Anyway, let's take a really quick reading before I get to breakfast. Okay, so there you go. It's been flat overnight, same as before. Not much for my body to do, really, so it's flat and low. Okay, and yeah, that's it. Eat my breakfast. Another day has passed, and let's take a quick look at the overnight data. Okay, there you go. So it's been low overnight, and now it's still low. I have not eaten breakfast. It's past 8:30 a.m., so I'm going to get to the breakfast. But first, let's look at yesterday's data, something interesting. So here we go. We have our breakfast spike first, which is very low, and then lunch is the first, this first wiggle here. Okay, and so again, not much spike. I did drink the turmeric tea after lunch, so still I think the turmeric tea doesn't really do anything. Now take a look here. So let me explain. I've said a few times before in different videos and experiments that I don't know if I fully trust this device, this way of measuring, because I'm just not seeing large spikes in my blood sugar, and I just don't know if I can trust it, and usually I'll see larger spikes in the first couple of days of using a new sensor, and then after that I don't see much spikes. And again, this kind of happened this time. The first day had a pretty large breakfast spike, and then subsequent days the spikes got smaller and smaller, so I find that hard to believe. So I decided to do a second experiment while I have this, which is to just compare the blood sugar level reported with a second device. Now, so I purchased this, and this is of course, a blood glucose meter, but not a continuous blood glucose meter. It's just a finger prick type. So I've been finger pricking a little, and just to compare. And so I just got this yesterday, so I just did a couple of measurements so far. And what I found was that when the blood sugar is low, then the result agreed to within 0.3, and the unit is millimole per liter. However, uh, however, that spike, I just showed you. Let me show you once more. So this spike here, that was after I purposely ate a piece of whole wheat bread. So that was at about around 4 o'clock or so. So I wanted to see what that does to my blood sugar. So I ate whole wheat bread, and sure enough, it did cause a spike. And you can see that that spike touches the upper of the blue line. That upper is 7.8 millimole per liter. It's set to the level where the blood sugar should not be above that about 2 hours after eating a meal. It's fine to go above it after a meal, but 2 hours after the meal, the blood sugar should be normalized to below that line, which it surely is here. But the point is, that spike touched the upper of the blue line, which is 7.8 millimole per liter. And then I compare to this one, and this one at that same time read 8.7. So that's 7.8 versus 8.7, a difference of 0.9 millimole per liter. So that is an error. I don't know if it's within the tolerance of these machines or not, but it seems to indicate my suspicion was right, that this is underreporting the height of the sugar spike. Anyway, I will continue to compare and see what kind of errors I get between these two machines. Now I'll go get to my breakfast. Now it's the next day, nearly 9 a.m. Let's look at the latest data. So just as usual, flat overnight and now rising in the morning. I have not eaten my breakfast. I'm just about to get to it. And yesterday I did twice the finger prick test versus this test, and found that they were basically in agreement. One was off by 0.1 and the second was off by 0.2 millimole per liter. So that's pretty much, I'm really happy with that. That's pretty, within the tolerances of these devices probably. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm happy with that. I will continue to do fingerprint tests and compare the result to the continuous glucose monitor and see if we see any big differences. But yeah, so far it's looking pretty okay. It's 8:30 a.m. the next day. Let's take a reading here. So my blood sugar is, as we expect, it was low all night and then starting to rise. I did a 5-minute HIIT exercise, so that might help contribute to letting it rise. And I did not eat breakfast yet, so I'll get to that. And let's look at yesterday. Here is a yesterday. So we see one peak from breakfast and then another peak from lunch. And that peak from lunch is not too high, did not even go out of the blue zone. And I did, just at the top of this peak, I did take a reading with the other device, and I found that there was pretty good agreement again. It was off by just a couple of millimole per liter. And then this morning at 7:30, so that would be somewhere here when the blood sugar was, this said the blood sugar was 4.0, and the other device said it was 4.3 millimole per liter. So again, that's you know, pretty fine, I think, within the errors of these devices. I'm certainly happy with that. Okay, let me go to my breakfast. And I forgot to mention that yesterday I took the turmeric tea before lunch. So there you go, that's the peak from lunch after taking the turmeric tea before it. Okay, it's just after 2 o'clock. I finished my lunch half an hour ago, and now I've taken a reading with the finger prick machine, and then also this machine, and I do see a difference there that's more than, it's 1.1 millimole per liter, so that's it looks like this one is underestimating. So yeah, today I tried to capture the sort of the capture measurement right at the rise of the blood sugar where it's quite steep, and so I see that probably this machine is lagging a bit in terms of reading the real-time values. It seems that maybe this is the real value and the other machine will eventually report it, but after some delay. So yeah, so it's good to know what the delay is and whether it's actually going to agree again at some point. It's still going up now, so I'll continue to monitor closely. Now, this one told me that it was 8.8, so I should see this one catch up and eventually reach 8.8, hopefully. And so I'll continue to monitor. Right now, 7.0 is still within this blue bar. The blue bar is set to this range right now, 5.6 to 7.8. So outside, so the 8.8 reading should be well above the blue bar at some point. So I'm going to see if this machine shows such a peak eventually. Even if it's delayed, I'd eventually like to know that it did reach the real peak. Okay, took another reading just now with both machines. So blood sugar is still on the rise and it has reached 9.3 millimoles per liter. This machine is still saying that it's sharply on the rise, but it's still lagging behind this one. So now I expect this one to eventually show me a peak of at least 9.3. Let's see if that happens. It's now 9 a.m. the next day, 9:15 a.m. that is, and I just finished my breakfast. Let's take a look at the latest data here. All right, so we have low throughout the night, and then we're starting to see the peak from breakfast. Now, let's look at yesterday's data. What we see here for lunch, okay, I took the measurement with the other device and saw a peak of 9.3 millimole per liter. But this device did not reach that level. It's the highest it reached. It looks like it just went out of the blue bar zone there at the peak. That blue bar, top of it is 7.8. So let's say it reached 8.0. Then that's still shy from 9.3 by 1.3 millimole per liter. So this is the second time I've seen this one underreport the value during a peak. So I can only conclude at the moment that this one, if the sugar level is changing very fast, let's say it's going up and then back down, this one will have a lag and probably miss the peak. It will just underreport the magnitude of it by perhaps up to 1.3 millimole per liter. So, I mean, that's probably not too bad. But it is a bit unfortunate that I can't see the true peak with this device. I finished my lunch at around 1:30 p.m. Now it's 1:45. Let's take a reading here, see what's going on. All right, we have our breakfast spike right there, and then fairly low from then on, and now
We don't see the lunch spike yet, but it will surely come. And today I drank the turmeric tea before lunch, so we'll see if today we get a smaller spike compared to other days. That's all for now.
Now it's the next day. Just finished my breakfast. It's about 9 a.m. Let's take a reading. Okay, so similar. We have low throughout the night. Then now we're starting to see the breakfast spike. And yeah, yesterday. Sorry about that. Yesterday's data looks like this. So yeah, yesterday I drank the turmeric tea before lunch, and we got this kind of spike. Okay, yeah, and the other thing is that the battery of this thing is on its last legs. It used to last 2 weeks or more on the battery charge, but now it's like a couple of hours, and I have to keep recharging it, so I think this is the last use of this one.
Well, I'm on travel now, and there is no more turmeric tea. I didn't bring that with me. So yesterday's video was the last one from home, and yesterday, in fact, I didn't take any turmeric tea. So that concludes that experiment. Now, I still have the glucose monitoring sensor on me, so I can continue to look at how different foods affect my blood sugar. So let's take a look at some data now. Let me pull this up here. So yesterday, here's the data. We see the breakfast spike there, and then this second, I ate a later lunch, so I guess it's this part here, that's the main lunch. And then there's a little blip here at the end. Well, this was in the evening. I ate about a third of a pomelo and a couple of small plums, so that caused a little blip there. And then here's today. So low throughout the night as usual. And here's the breakfast spike. This was a hotel buffet breakfast. Now you would think that, with a hotel buffet breakfast, this is going to go through the charts, but I ate only the healthy stuff, so that's why the peak is not going crazy. And then after that, lunch was kind of spread out over a couple of hours, so there isn't much of a peak. It's just some wiggles. And now I just finished my lunch, I guess, or the last part of it, and we'll see if there's another spike from that. It was some spicy potatoes and spicy tofu, so it could cause a spike from the potatoes anyway. We'll see.
Okay, I'm back from my trip, back at home, and this device here is about to expire. I've been monitoring my blood sugar level during the trip, but nothing too interesting to show. Here's the reading, and it told me that there's just 4 minutes left of the usage of this device. And so now it's around 9:30 or 9:45. I finished my breakfast. I started eating at 8:30, so maybe finished at 8:45, so that was about an hour ago. And I've been trying to capture the peak here. There's hardly any peak at all. And I do think that this device gets less and less accurate as you get close to the end of the 14 days of the usage. Like it's not showing me any spikes like it did in the beginning, even though, I'm eating quite similarly. Let's look at some of the data. So here's today. Yesterday looks like this. I'm missing some data here because I forgot to scan it, and this can only store, well, this can only store 8 hours worth of data. This can store way more than that. I don't know how much it can store. So it keeps a memory of all the data, but you have to scan for every 8 hours or more frequently than that. So yeah, so I'm missing some data there. The day before that looks like this. There have been just no spikes, so that's a little hard to believe. I've been eating some like hotel food and restaurant food, so I would think that that should cause spikes. The day before that, again, no spikes. Day before that, a few spikes, but quite low. And then the day before that, we have some action here after dinner. So the day before that, some reasonable spikes. So I think that like this device, I think it's valid for 14 days. I believe maybe in the last 5 days, it's just less accurate. Now, not only do I not see as many spikes in the last few days, but I've been checking it and comparing the data against the other device that I purchased, this one. So yeah, I also found that this one is definitely registering higher spikes. So it's unfortunate that I cannot really see these the real peak. I tend to see something that looks more averaged out, and if that sugar spike is very quick up and down, it will not capture it. Whereas this one, I think, can capture it because yeah, it works differently. It takes a blood drop sample, whereas this one has a needle that is yay long, maybe 5 millimeters long, and I assume the part that reads the blood sugar is inside the device, so the sugar has to diffuse through that very, very thin tube, and that takes time. So not only is it delayed, I think it's sort of averaging the blood sugar over time. So yeah, so some interesting findings from this past experiment. And there you go, we're finished. I think it's showing me that it's expired, and it looks like it will not let me take any more readings. Yeah, it's basically not letting me take any more readings, so it forces me to stop using it, which is good because I think it's they developed it to just last a certain amount of time, and after that they know it's not accurate, so gotta stop using it. Okay, I have my lovely assistant, and since this has expired, we're just going to pull it out and take a look at it. So we're just going to pull it straight off. All right, let's pull. It's coming off. Okay, we got it. There it is. Yeah, this part was the one inside of Daddy that was taking the blood sugar readings. So there it is. You want to look at the tape? The tape stayed on my arm. Yeah, there's the needle. It's yeah, you can pull that off. Thank you. No. Is there
have one hole.
One? You saw a hole?
Yeah. From this job.
Yeah. Okay, let's see that hole. Where's that hole? It's right there, right? Yeah, there's a hole, tiny hole. So any blood coming out?
No.
No blood coming. That's good. Okay, so yeah, this needle is really tiny. The length of it is, I don't know, maybe 6 millimeters, I'm guessing. And it is flexible. Flexible. You're seeing that? See here. Flexible. Flexible, that means it can bend. Yep, it can bend. And there was various discomfort in the early days with this in. Sometimes when I lie down, sometimes when I'm exercising. You want to put it back? No, Daddy doesn't want this back. Yeah, you can see through this plastic cover that there's a small battery, and this green thing is a PCB, and there's an IC in it there, and I don't know what part is doing the readings, but this is very, very interesting.
Daddy.
Yeah? What's up?
Let's go to do that.
What do you want to do?
Show Daddy.
Show Daddy? Okay. All right.
Put us down.
All right, let's go.